I have a confession to make. There are some very popular book series that I've never read. And today, I'm going to reveal all my secrets. Welcome to the channel. My name is Joseph Carroll. I write under the pen name J.R. Carroll. And today we are going to talk about some popular sci-fi fantasy series that I haven't read yet. Most of these I actually do want to get to at some point. Some have higher priority than others. So I'm just going to kind of run through them. And I would love to hear your comments, whether you've read all of these, if some of these are on your TBRs, and what you what you think about all these series. And I'm gonna also tell the channels where I've heard the most enthusiastic talk about these series, and which channels have convinced me to eventually get to these. There's 10 of them, so there's a lot of books, and there's books that I have priorities on already. So some of these may take me a long time to get to, but at some point I do want to get to all of these. So number 10 on the list, the first up, and forgive me, Harry Potter. I didn't come to reading until I was out of high school, actually. I mean, yes, I've read some books through high school, but I never became a big, reader probably until I was 24, 25. And, by that time, Harry Potter had passed. Yeah, I mean, I remember the hype. I remember it being everywhere. I remember at my local Walmart, they had a whole pallet full of Harry Potter stuff, and it was just like Black Friday. They had it all wrapped up, and when it released, kids just, swarmed it, and it was like piranhas, and the books disappeared. But I've heard Murphy Napier talk about it extensively, and about how that was one of the book series that really got her into fantasy and everything. And I've watched 3 or 4 of the movies, and they were enjoyable. Just the last one I went to, the theater had, it was like middle of summer, no air conditioning, so it was just a terrible experience, and that kind of put me off of watching the rest of them. But me and my family are going through with my son watching these, so I will get to the books at some point, even if it's past my ideal age time. I still want to read them. So number 9 is not as popular as the rest of these, but I did want to give some love to Nightmareland Chronicles. Now, it's a book series that my friend Steve from Steve Talks Books has gushed about, and before I got onto BookTube as a running a channel, they ran through all the books in the series. I think he may even have some more coming out, but at some point I do want to get into those. It's a horror type series, and Steve has said that the books get better every single book, and the ending to some of them is crazy. So I just want to give some love there to another indie author, and would love to get in there and see what it's all about, and what the hype from Steve is all about. Number 8 is the Farseer Trilogy, and Jimmy from the Fantasy Network has gushed about the Farseer, and really, I mean, everybody has, right? But I just haven't gotten into Robin Hobb yet. So Yeah, I mean, this series has been like this is one of the 5 series probably that everybody talks about so much. So at some point, I'm gonna have to get into it, to at least give it a try and see what it's all about. It's held up there as one of the greatest of all time, and everyone loves Robin Hobb. So I'm gonna have to dive in um, at some point. So uh, you know, good on you, Jimmy, for pushing that out there. So number 7 is The Faithful and the Fallen, and Sarah from Sarah Reed's. She's awesome, and I trust her opinion. Again, she's not the only one, but she holds that up as one of her top 10 series of all time. So if and other people I've heard the same thing from. So and people say he's some of the best prose and everything. So that is another one I definitely want to get into, um, and just so so many books, coming late to the party. So we'll definitely have to get into that. And so that brings us to number 6, and this one is another one that a lot of people will be like, "You haven't read it," but The Song of Ice and Fire, George R. R. Martin. Of course, like most people on the planet, I've watched the series, and Alex, he's the one that got me into. He's done so many discussions with different people, and talked about how great George is, and everybody, everybody's talked about it. So at some point, I'm gonna dive into it. It not being done, and you know, I know these books are gigantic, uh, and I'm trying, right as of right now, I'm not doing a lot of huge books outside of a Malazan, um, but at some point, Song of Ice and Fire will definitely be on the list. So we'll go to number 5, and this is Murderbot. Um, Daniel Green has just talked it up so big. I know other people have as well, and actually I've heard some mixed things about Murderbot. I've heard some people just didn't get it. Like they're just like, it's not funny. What. Um, but um, I've been watching Daniel Green for years, and it's one of his favorite series of all time. And another reason why I think I can get into it is because a lot of them are novellas, and I do want to read shorter books so I can get more under my belt. It just takes time in between my writing and life in general, to get bigger books in, but this is definitely one that I can fit in, and I would I want to see what it's about. I want to I just the way he talks about Murderbot, um, it definitely could be a hit or miss. So I want to give it a go and see if it's a big hit for me. So number 4 is the First Law by Joe Abercrombie, and Mike from Mike's book review. A lot of, I guess everybody on you on BookTube has read at least through a handful of Abercrombie, and I really want to get into it because I'm a dark fantasy writer. Now I don't consider my stuff grimdark, and he's the Lord of Grimdark. So I definitely want to at least kind of get into it, at least read the first 3 and see how I like it. And Abercrombie's always held up as one of the best current writers in the game. So, and he's got an awesome name. So that is going to be on my list for sure. And so we're getting into the top three, the big three here. And this is one that is starting to take off. You know, he did his, you know, big Kickstarter after Sanderson did his, and he made like $1 million too. So this is going to be Cradle by Will White, and Michael Nip. Michael's awesome. I watch all his videos. He's hilarious, but he is addicted to Cradle, and his enthusiasm for it just oozes through his videos and makes me really want to read it. And he's talked about it being kind of like I'm not I'm not big into anime anymore. When I was a kid, I liked it and stuff. But the way he talks about the books is is infectious. I want to check it out, and they seem to be smaller books, so I can kind of get into them, and if I like them, I can burn through them, and if not, well, it's not that big of an investment. So I definitely, and I feel like Cradle is probably towards the top of my list of must read or am going to give a chance to. And number 2 on the list is a big one, and it's Discworld. I have Alan from the Library of Alexandria has talked extensively about Discworld, and I just want to give it a chance. I know they're not bigger books either. I've heard they're kind of absurd, so it could be another one of those. Like, I don't like. I'm not big on parody movies and stuff. I've heard people kind of talk about them being in that general feeling, but it's such a beloved series. I want to give it a chance. I know they're not really big books, so another reason to get into it. But Alan, seems to love them, and death is everyone's favorite character or whatever. So that is going to be probably a priority. I feel like I'm gonna at least get to 1 or 2 of those books this year. And then numero uno, number 1, don't hate me, people. The Lord of the Rings. I have never read The Lord of the Rings. Philip, it's like Philip's number 2 all time. It was his favorite series until he got into Malazan. But I trust Philip to that he talks about, and he's done all kinds of videos. And of course, it seems like everybody on the planet or everyone on BookTube has read The Lord of the Rings. Of course, I've watched all the movies, all the prequels, and it's something at some point I'm going to get to. It's like must read things if you're going to have a BookTube channel. So at some point when I do those, I will do a review of them. And I've heard some people like, oh, I can't get into the writing style, but I mean, I loved Frankenstein, some of the most beautiful writing ever. And it was 1800, early 1800s. And I've read other stuff, Dracula from the 1890s, Carmilla from the 1870s. So I think, I should be okay. But thank you for listening to my confession, and hopefully, hopefully you don't think less of me, people. I'm just a man, okay? A man who came late to reading, but I will. These are all on my list, and I will definitely get to them. Hey, we're almost to 200. We're rolling along. If once I get to 200 subscribers, I will be giving away a copy of More Than a Gunslinger in hardcover. So if you have to be a subscriber, like, comment, and I will pick a random person, and I will be sending you a hardcover copy of More Than a Gunslinger once we reach 200. So from every video here on out, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next one.